So I've been told that I have to preach today, but I'm only allowed to preach 15 minutes. Have you ever heard me preach 15 minutes? Who will be able to be the timer, who will wave if I go over 15 minutes? But we actually only have I've got something exciting and interesting that I would like to show all of you. So let's have a look. I wonder if you can. So I'm busy forwarding the wrong PowerPoint. So we're just going to bring the other PowerPoint up. This is, by the way, the information that I want to share with you is information that was discovered only about 18 months ago. So that's only a year and a little bit ago. It was at the end of 2023, so it's quite new. I wonder if any of you can tell me what you see on the screen at the moment. Does that look interesting to you? Have you seen that before? Any idea? I've got a hand there at the back. I couldn't hear. Like a water droplet. Would you agree that there's water involved? Because it's only water that can make things shimmer and shine like that. Good guess, but no. Any other idea? Wow, so can you see anything that resembles plastic? You guys are clever, but the answer is no, it's not plastic, but it's very similar to plastic. And because, yes, one more guess, let's have a look. An invisible stone. I love that idea. I love that idea. That was the first, when I saw it the first time, I thought, oh, that looks like a gem or like a glass stone that's probably been left inside like a fish tank or something like that. That's not a bad guess because it does look like glass or like something invisible that. Would you use the word see-through? Because you can see all the way through it. By the way, one thing that you can notice, let me see now, this isn't going to work very well, but can you see there's like, it disappears, there's like a line of things that look like staples almost at the top of the screen over there. Okay, can you see it? Or it's like little, we'll get back to that. Let me give you another clue. That's the same thing. So, any idea what that is? Anna, you haven't tried yet. I wish there's something wrong with my hearing. I wonder. A cat? Oh, a chameleon. What do you think? Good idea, because it matches the color of the person's skin, or otherwise it's just see-through. Any other idea? Well, I'm hearing something C and gel. Can you, at the back, what was it? It's a jellyfish, yes. Well done, guys. Excellent. Can you see it looks like jelly over there? That's in the hand. Now, if you look very carefully again at the picture, and again, I can't use the pointer because it just disappears. But can you see there's also like a row of little clips that go down over there? Sorry, I don't. I've been struggling with this little cough that doesn't want to go away. So, by the way, so this is called it is a special kind of jellyfish. And not all jellyfish look like that. Let me show you another picture. That is what it looks like when you take away the see-through nature of it and you just look at it through. That looks quite striking, doesn't it? And can you, once again, you see those little clips? But this time those clips actually, you can just begin to see what they are. They're actually like little hair that's growing off the jellyfish. And the jellyfish uses those little hair to move around inside the water so that it can change direction by just waving the hair and it does things. Tell me, this kind of jellyfish, do you think it's got a mouth? Huh? Can you show me where the mouth is? In the middle. Can you see the mouth right there in the middle? You're absolutely right. It looks like a little tube. So what you've got is you've got like a little umbrella that comes down, and then you've got the mouth on the inside of that umbrella. Can you see that? And that jellyfish can eat a number of things. So now I want to show you something. I want to tell you a story about a scientist. And he's a very well-known scientist that works at the University of Exeter. And this scientist was so excited one day because he found all of these jellyfish lying on the ground at the beach. You know, the waves sometimes come and they bring the jellyfish. And he found all those jellyfish and he picked them up because he wanted to study them, because he has some theories about how they eat and how they move around and how they communicate. And so he went and he picked up the jellyfish and he put them inside a water tank in his laboratory. He took 2 jellyfish and he put them inside the water tank. Then he went back home and he went and slept very well because he was excited. Tomorrow he's going to do a little bit of experimentation. And so when he came back to his laboratory the next day, he gets there and he looks and he starts putting things on. He gets ready for his experiment, and then he tries to find the 2 jellyfish, and suddenly his mood changes and he starts stomping his feet. He says, "Who of you and he looked at all the other staff members in the laboratory and he says, "Who of you allowed an octopus to come into my laboratory?" And everybody looked at him and said, "No, we would never allow an octopus to come into this laboratory. We know that it's against the rules to bring an octopus into this laboratory." But he says, "No, somebody must have taken an octopus because..." And do you know what he thinks? He says, "I had 2 jellyfish in this fish tank, and now I can only see 1 jellyfish." And do you know what octopuses are very good to do? Do you say octopus or octopi? Octopi. What do they do? An octopus is a clever animal. Because if you've got an octopus inside a tank, do you know that an octopus can climb outside of the tank? And it can crawl over the water, over the floor. And then it can climb into the next tank and it can say, "Yum, yum, I've got some food. I can eat a jellyfish." And because the scientist could only find 1 jellyfish. But all of his friends, all of the colleagues who worked with him said, "That's impossible because we will never allow an octopus to come into the tank." And so the scientist was scratching his head. He wasn't sure if he should believe his colleagues or not. And then what he did is he looked again. And suddenly, and this is a picture of what he saw. Now, that picture is a bit complicated. But that picture is 1 jellyfish. But, can you see? Well, it's a bit difficult to see, but the jellyfish actually has 2 mouths. And then he started looking and says, "Have they just attached themselves to each other?" So he lifted them up and he felt this 1 jellyfish is now weighing a lot more than 1 jellyfish would have weighed when he put it in, but it's still just 1 jellyfish. But it's got 2 mouths. And then he started doing investigation. And he discovered that these two jellyfish had somehow joined each other in such a way that they became one. Now, but they joined each other so much. Let me show you this. This is a little video. I hope it's going to play. Can you see the two mouths? And then let's see if the video plays. I don't know why it's not playing. Is it on? Oh, thank you. It doesn't matter if it's not going to play. That's all right. It's sometimes when it's, I don't know if it's on PowerPoint or something. But do you know what he discovered is he could come and he could poke the one jellyfish, and usually when you poke a jellyfish, then it reacts because it's got a nervous system and it goes like, you can look this up, by the way, on YouTube. There's actually quite a lot of videos of it, where he would poke the one jellyfish and the other jellyfish would just react in exactly the same way that they became like one with each other. Then what he did is he said, let's feed them something. Let's give them something to eat. And so he gave them a little shrimp to eat, but he put a dye into the shrimp and he gave it into the one mouth. And do you know what happened? When you could watch how the jellyfish would let the shrimp go into its mouth and into its tummy, and then the shrimp would break itself up, and then somehow the food that he ate moved across. Do you see he's poking it? Can you see how he's poking it? He pokes it, and can you see how the other side responds? That jellyfish, two jellyfish, somehow joined each other and became total one. Even so much so that when he ate a shrimp on the one side, and there is a video like that on the internet, but I couldn't download the video, the other tummy, or at least the shrimp would break up, and then it would cross the border from one jellyfish to the next, and then it would fill the whole jellyfish. You could see the color dye, and then when the jellyfish needed to go to the toilet, did you know that jellyfish have to go to the toilet? You could actually see the green dyed poop go out at the back of both jellyfish, okay? Which is quite interesting. So, sorry, am I allowed to talk about poop in church? I'm not sure. But it went from one jellyfish to the next, which was quite fascinating. And you know, then he remembered something. He remembered when he put the two jellyfish into the tank, one of the jellyfish had a scratch on it because it had been a wave had thrown it onto a rock, and the jellyfish was actually injured. And when he did some more investigation, he discovered that where the other jellyfish was connected was exactly where that injury took place. And so that triggered something fascinating. He actually started doing a little bit of research, and he picked up some more of these jellyfish, and then he actually purposefully cut a small piece of one of the jellyfish away, and then he would put them in a tank, and he'll go home for the night, and guess what would happen the next day? They would join together again at that point where they were broken. And he discovered something, that these jellyfish were looking out for one another. And when one of them was hurting, and one of them really, if they were aching and something was wrong, the other jellyfish would come and he would somehow attach himself. So let me teach you this big word. Maybe you already know this word. Can you say that? Hello. Close? Allo recognition. Can any of you guess what the word allo means? It comes from, I think it comes probably from from Latin, and it means something else or a foreign body, or yes, allo means someone else or something else. So here is the way that nature usually works. Our bodies are very good at knowing where we end and where somebody else begins. That is called allo recognition. So if I take my hand and I put it on your shoulder, my body immediately tells me I'm touching somebody else's shoulder because my body recognizes that somebody else is someone else and I am someone else. In other words, we're different from each other. Now, scientists have problems with this sometimes because you've heard that when somebody has a kidney failure or something, we have somebody in our church who had a kidney transplant. Do you know who that is? We'll let you guess later and we'll talk about it. But if somebody has kidney failure, then you would think you can just take somebody else's kidney and you can put it inside this person and help them to get better. But sometimes that is a problem because your body has this skill called allo recognition. It recognizes that that kidney is not your own. And then your body begins to fight against that kidney. And so scientists have to figure out how can they trick the body into believing that that new kidney is its own so that the kidney can stay. And so what scientists are excited about with these jellyfish have a way of switching off allo recognition. They all become one. Does that make sense? Does it feel like a science class? And have I spoken more than 15 minutes? Let me show you one more verse. When we're hurting, I wonder if a God doesn't give us the ability to get healed by switching off allo recognition. Let's have a look at this. Romans 8, verse 16. The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are what? God's children. So now there's something mysterious that's happening there because we're individuals, but then God's Holy Spirit comes and he does what? He brings us all together into one family. So if we were separate, God brings us all together again. Here's another verse. The Living Translation says, for his spirit joins with our spirit to affirm that we are God's children. Ephesians 4 verse 3. Make every effort to keep unity of the spirit through the bond of peace. I was looking for an example of where this happened in the Bible. And probably the best example I could find was when Jesus was busy preaching one day in the book of Mark, and he was preaching away, and there were hundreds of people around him in this house, and nobody else could come in. And then all of a sudden, something started happening above Jesus' head. Can you remember that story? Yes, that's exactly right. The crippled man. All of a sudden, the roof imploded. And through the roof comes this man who can't walk because 4 other people worked together to bring him to the feet of Jesus. They couldn't get him in this way. So what did they do? They broke down that boundary, that roof, so that they could let the crippled man come down so that Jesus could heal him. And I wonder if this isn't the work of the Holy Spirit, that when we live together and the Holy Spirit works with us, we're always looking out for the other person to see what we can do to help them. We're always trying to do the best that we can do for them rather than to try to do the worst. We step aside from just thinking about ourselves, but we think about other people. And I think that is something that Jesus has taught us to do. And I think I'm going to finish my little story over here today. You can actually go and read about it. It was only published in the Nature magazine at the end of 2023. So it's cutting edge science, but I think it taught me something about God as well. So I thought I'll just share that with you. Thank you.